moving on. So far we had starting point of the cycle, we had the first square, and then we had the opposition. So we're almost like at the full moon stage now. Now what happens after the full moon? 22, 21, 22, it varies a little bit, but it's again 7 years after the 14. This one is called waning square because it's between the middle point and the end, and it's got a different meaning. Well, the first one at age 14 was about no, not age 14. At age 7, the first one was about doing something, action. Here is about thinking something. It's consciousness. It's something completely different. A completely different process is now going to start. At that age, you can finally say goodbye to mom and dad, and you can choose your education, your profession, at least start exploring things in that direction. But the bonds with the family are usually severed, but the bonds with the peers are not severed yet, most of the time. Most of the time in our 20s, we still are very connected with friends in the groups that we had connected with and identified with. Maybe you haven't, I'm not saying, but it's very common. It's very common to my friends, the ones from school years. And in the previous period, which I forgot to say, is that one of the typical things that happens there is that we identify so much with the peer group we are with that we start copying their clothing, their behavior, everything. It's like this gang mentality in puberty. Now here we have separated from family. Maybe we have went to a different town, country, whatever, but we still need to ask ourselves the next important question is where I belong. And where I belong, not physically, but what do I believe in? What sort of people I want to be my friends? And this is a crisis where a lot of thinking starts, and evaluating different options, and searching for myself, who I am, starting to study astrology, for example, so that I can get some sense of direction of where I want to go and so on. But this is also the age where people break into the professional and business world. They get for the first time legal rights, and that with those rights, lots of and freedom, like being able to vote, being able to sign contracts, to get married, and all those things, comes a lot of responsibility and responsibility to other people, especially if we decide to make use of those things. For example, if we do get married, now we are responsible for the other person. We have to study them, we have to learn how to relate to them, and all those things which were not part of childhood. Here is the first time when we are challenged to grow up. And if we don't take the challenge, that's it. During this stage, that's where the crisis of the 30s and the first Saturn return really hit us very hard, because it wants us. I mean, what happens at 30 is asking for accounts of what you did during your 20s, and we have to let go of adolescent emotions here, and really, yes, we're still free to experiment. Still, time doesn't affect us that much. Saturn time hasn't made us think about it a lot. We feel a lot more free, and that there is time for everything. There is time to have children, to choose my profession, to do lots of things. But this can also be a period of isolation, because if you didn't have a peer group, if you are more of an individualist or more of an introvert, still you would start having that pressing questions in your head about who you are and what you want to do, and studying different philosophies of life, studying other people, and then you may get a bit isolated, alone. There are many situations where people are alone in their 20s, living like on their own, or just not being able to form very, very strong bonds with others. They may be like this because of this deficiency need. You feel empty a little bit, so you either marry or you go into a partnership of another kind, or friendships, or seek to hide yourself in friendships. These things happen a lot, and they may affect later if, for example, you're in a educational institution and you connect with certain people, because you need to connect. You need to get the sense of belonging.